GB News can exclusively reveal that an Islamic State sniper and his terrorist mastermind brother, both close associates of the Manchester Arena suicide bomber Salman Abedi, could be released from prison in a matter of weeks. Mohammed Abdallah travelled to Syria to join the terrorist group ISIS in July 2014, while his brother, Abdel Rauf, was responsible for helping coordinate ISIS recruits from their family home in Manchester. Abdallah spent 2 years fighting in the Middle East before being arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison upon his return to the UK in 2016. His brother, Abdel Rauf, has been serving a 5.5-year sentence for his part in masterminding the terror group's recruitment network. Now, the official investigation into the Manchester Arena bomb attack found that Abdel Rauf had a significant influence on the bomber, Salman Abedi. The two exchanged more than 1,000 text messages. Abedi would go on to kill 22 people and injure 1,000 more when he detonated a bomb at the end of an Ariana Grande concert in Manchester back in May 2017. And now GB News has learnt that both of them could walk free, with both brothers set to appear before the parole board in March and April, respectively. To react to these shocking revelations, I am joined now, very gratefully so, by a survivor of the Manchester Arena bombing. It's Jade Clough, who was unfortunately seriously injured in the attack. Jade, can I just say thank you very, very much for joining us here on Patrick Christie's Tonight. Should these two terrorist brothers be released?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they've got direct links to Salman Abedi and his brother, and I think personally, on a personal level, it's very close to home. And I just don't know whether they'd be safe on the streets.
Could I,
and whether
if it's
we've
all...
even got the resources to be able to kind of monitor, you know, what will go on post-release.
Could I ask you, if it's OK, what happened for you that night in that arena? So if you're OK to just talk about it a little bit, just to kind of paint a picture of it, which I think gives an insight into the kind of monsters that these people are, right? So what happened for you that night?
I bought my nephew tickets for his birthday, so we'd planned on obviously having an amazing night. It was his first ever concert. He was only just turned 17 and a massive Ariana Grande fan. We had a really good night up until obviously the end. We left the concert straight after she finished singing her last song, which was Dangerous Woman, and went downstairs and onto the concourse. As we walked through the foyer doors, and we was a little bit confused as to kind of where to go, because I'd never come out of that exit before. So as we were walking, we decided to turn around, and then all of a sudden the room just went bright orange and then white, and then there was a massive deafening bang, like it rumbled through your whole body, and we was just thrown from God knows where we were stood. We landed somewhere completely different. It was all fuzzy. You couldn't hear anything. You couldn't see anything. You could just see like smoke around you, but you could just hear like a ringing in your ear, really loud ringing. And I was hit in the leg, and it felt like a really hard punch. But then when I tried to stand up and walk on it, obviously I couldn't, and it was just, my leg was just a mess. But obviously following the night, it's a long, long recovery, and I don't think that you'll ever recover from something like that, not fully, not emotionally. Physically, you can recover, but, you have to live with the mental scars every day. So I never used to suffer with any kind of mental health issues at all. I've never suffered with anything until that night.
And how has that manifested itself for you? Is it flashbacks? What's that been like for you? Because this is the ongoing thing. There were people who were killed and injured that night. This will be with you forever, won't it?
Yeah, definitely. And people say, after it, you'll get back to normal at some point, but there is not your old normal. You have to create a new normal. And the new normal is not particularly wanting to go to crowded places, avoiding them as much as you can. If you do have to go to crowded places for whatever reason, you'll be looking for where the nearest exits are, analysing what's going on around you. So you can never really live in the moment if you are in a crowded place. or in a place that could, even an airport or a train station or somewhere where there's people. Because I think initially when you're younger, and I don't know, maybe more so being a female, you're kind of told not to go down dark alleyways at night and not to, you know, walk around on your own and things like that. So myself and my nephew, we were in a place where we felt perfectly safe. There was security around, there was loads of people, there was kids and families, and, you know, you just didn't expect anything like that. So it changes your whole perspective on how you view life then, and what's deemed as being safe and what's not.
No, and when you see that one of these individuals who's described as going to a mosque with Salman Abedi, exchanged more than 1,000 text messages with him, said that he was a significant influence on the bloke that detonated himself in, let's be honest, what was deliberately a room full of, a large percentage of the people in that room were children, right?
Yeah.
That night. The idea that he'd got 5.5 years in prison and could be back out in a couple of months, I mean, what does that mean to you?
It's terrifying. It's scary. I mean, you know, you don't know what goes on kind of in the country with relation to, you know, how many people are on watch lists and stuff like that. But to kind of know that someone who has had a direct link to the attack that obviously has affected me and, you know, countless others throughout Manchester, well, the country, really, to know that they could be released and potentially walking around the streets, and I don't know, it's scary.
You've got another guy who supposedly, anyway, was some kind of sniper for ISIS, you know, so this guy has gone out of his way to go to Syria. Everyone knew what ISIS were up to. Everyone with social media, everyone who watched the news. There can be no excuses for thinking that it was something other than it was, right? You know, he's gone over there, he's fought for them, OK? 10 years, well, it'll be 5.5 again for him now, won't it, realistically? So he could be back out again. Let's just talk about that side of it. So he's potentially not even serving his full sentence. I mean, these people can be out actually early.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you find it a bit insulting, do you think, as a victim, of the direct victim of a terror attack and the lifelong effect that it's had on you? I mean, presumably it is a bit insulting.
Yeah, I suppose so. I think more than insulting, it's more scary, the thought of it, the thought of people, you know, being in communities and potentially committing atrocities like that again, and, you know, potentially having to make more people go through things that they shouldn't have to go through just when they're out doing daily things that are supposed to be fun. And then it's scary.
Do you believe that people like that can ever be rehabilitated, do you think? Because I suppose that's the case for allowing them out, isn't it? Well, they've served their time, maybe they've been rehabilitated and they could be a different person now. They might have renounced ISIS or whatever. I'm not sure how you feel about that.
I don't know the ins and outs of the de-radicalisation process, and I'm assuming it includes extensive therapy. And I don't know whether I think that people who are maybe that far gone can be rehabilitated. I'm not sure. But I think that the problem with it is that you probably won't know. You know, you just don't know. There's always that level of uncertainty. And I mean, I don't think by any means that people can't be rehabilitated, because I believe that people can. But I don't know. In that circumstance, I don't know.
Could I,
when you're that far gone?
When you're that far gone? No, exactly. Could I just ask you if it's all right, just to give a bit of a message? They're going to go to the parole board, OK? So people, you know, ordinary people are going to end up deciding on whether or not this lot walk free. If it's all right with you, could you just give a little bit of a message to the people who are going to be in a room with these two terrorists deciding whether or not they potentially get to walk the streets around Manchester again? What would your message to them be?
I think parole boards, when they're considering any kind of, you know, release for people who've committed terrorist offences, I think they need to think of the victims or survivors or people, you know, people that's lives have been massively affected, and have them at the forefront of their decisions that they make.
And try to put themselves in the minds of people like yourself. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it was an absolute stain on Britain and on Manchester, what happened that evening. And thank goodness that you're OK now. I know that you've got ongoing trauma as a result of it, but can I just say thank you very much for coming on this show, for talking to me, for being brave enough to relive elements of that evening as well and talk about your lived experience, because I think it's only by talking to people like yourself that people get a real sense of what it means, the word terror, actually. And can I just ask as well, sorry, you were there with your nephew that evening. Yeah. Is your nephew OK?
He's similar to me. He suffered physical injuries as well and had to have an operation to remove shrapnel and things. But yeah, similar to me, he lives daily with the kind of emotional scars of it. All
right, Jade. Well, look, God bless and good luck to you and your nephew and everyone involved as well. And I hope that we can talk again maybe in a few weeks' time or a month's time or so, and we've got the kind of result from the parole board that I think everyone is actually really hoping for. It's Jade Clough there, who's a survivor of the 2017 Manchester Arena attack. Thank you very, very much for coming on. Much appreciated.